In this video, we will look at the Lab Template Designer, which can be used to create lab templates that are more complex than a single server. Now, if you're looking for an overview of lab templates or you need to create a fairly straightforward environment with a single server, you can look for the Lab Template Overview and Wizard video, and that'll probably give you what you need. Now, to create a template with the designer, I'll first select Add Template and go ahead and provide the very basic information here in step 1. Now, I want others to be able to see this template and copy it if necessary, but I don't want them to edit this, so I'm going to go ahead and keep the default permission of copy. I'll also add a couple of labels to describe what this template will be used for. Now, this template is going to have more than one server, so when I get here to step 2, instead of defining the starting point for the single server, I'm going to go ahead and instead select to go to the template designer. Here in the designer, I can use the resources over here on the left to define what I need in this environment. Maybe this environment is going to have an application server and maybe another machine that will act as the client. So I'll drag both of those over. I do need to define properties for each server. So if I double click on the resource here, it's going to open up the settings page for each of these servers. I probably want to go ahead and give this machine a more descriptive name, and then I'll need to specify things like machine size, starting point for this server as well. This particular machine is going to act as an application server, and I'll go ahead and use Ubuntu Server as the starting point, and I'm going to connect to it via SSH. There are also several more advanced configuration settings. I'll point out the ones that are the most common, but you'll want to spend some time getting familiar with what is here. Now, the default hard drive size is going to be 50 gigabytes, but if I know I'm going to need more storage, I can increase that. The connection tab has options that determine how we'll connect to this server. And then if there's data that you want to expose to the users, that can be provided under the data tab. Maybe there's a start command that you want to make available to the users, or maybe you're going to install an application in this template and you want to inform the users of the username and password for that application. Then I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing for the second server as well. Now, this one's going to act as the client, and so I'll go ahead and make this a Windows machine that will connect via RDP. Now, by default, all servers within this template will be able to communicate with each other, so I don't need to do anything special to allow a connection between these two machines. Ports can be used if I want to connect to one or more of these servers from the outside. So, for example, maybe I want to connect to this server with an external tool. I can drag a port over. We do need to define the property, so I'll call it SSH and port open port 22. So that's going to open up that port and allow that external connection. Another option that we have here under resources is a database. So this will create a database in Amazon RDS. I do need to specify the database instance type and database engine. And of course, while you're designing out your environment, if you change your mind, you can use start over, reset, and delete buttons here until you get it configured correctly. Once I am ready, I can go ahead and start the template. Now, it can take a couple of minutes or so to start everything and get it up and running. Once everything is running, you will see the thumbnails here for each of the machines. If I supplied any custom data, that's visible to the user via the information icon here on the thumbnail. Now, it's likely that I'm going to need to install some specific software onto this template. If I have the install image handy and I want to upload that to the template, I can easily do that here with this upload button. Now, to access the machine, I just expand it using the arrows here, and now I have access to this machine through my browser. Full screen option over here in the upper right. Any files that I've uploaded to the machine are going to be in the uploads folder here, which is available on the desktop. Now, of course, at this point, I would run through whatever installation and configuration needed to be done on each of those machines. Once you have everything installed and configured like you want, you go ahead and stop the template and make sure that you save those changes. One additional thing to keep in mind is if this template is going to be used to spin up environments for a training class, and you're going to define a class here in ORC Labs using this template, you'll want to go ahead and publish this template with the option that you see here. In addition to creating a lab template with the designer like we've just done here, you could also use the template designer to edit an existing template. So maybe you already have a template out there that has part of what you want, but you need to add some additional resources. So here on the list of templates, over here under Actions, I can go directly to the designer and make any necessary changes.